The Russo-Turkish War of 1676 to 1681, a war between the Tsardom of Russia and Ottoman Empire, caused by Turkish expansionism in the second half of the 17th century. After having captured and devastated the region of Podolia in the course of the Polish-Turkish War of 1672 to 1676, the Ottoman government strove to spread its rule over all of the right bank Ukraine with the support of its vassal, since 1669, Hetman Petro Doroshenko. The latter's pro-Turkish policy caused discontent among many Ukrainian Cossacks, which would elect Ivan Samuilovich, hetman of the left bank Ukraine, as the sole hetman of all Ukraine in 1674. Despite this, Doroshenko continued to keep Chyryn. He cleverly maneuvered between Moscow and Warsaw and used the support of the Turkish Tatar army. Finally, the Russian and Ukrainian forces under the command of Samuilovich and Grigory Romodanovsky besieged Chyryn and forced Doroshenko to surrender in 1676. Leaving a garrison in Chyryn, the Russian and Ukrainian armies retreated to the left bank of the Dnieper. The supply of Ottoman forces operating in Moldavia and Wallachia was a major challenge that required well-organized logistics. An army of 60,000 soldiers and 40,000 horses required 500,000 kilograms of food per day. The Ottoman forces fared better than the Russians, but the expenses crippled both national treasuries. Supplies on both sides came using fixed prices, taxes, and confiscation. The Turkish Sultan appointed Yuri Khmelnytsky, who had been the Sultan's prisoner at that time, hetman of the right bank Ukraine. In July 1677, the Sultan ordered his army, 45,000 men, under the command of Ibrahim Pasha to advance towards Chyryn. July 30, 1677 at the fortress appeared advanced detachments, and on August 3, the main forces of the Turks. Samuilovich and Grigory Romodanovsky's forces joined on August 10, and only on August 24 they crossed the Sula River on the way to Chyryn. On August 26 to 27, a skirmish between their and Ottoman troops removed Ottoman observation posts and allowed the rest of the Muscovite and Ukrainian forces to cross the river under the cover of artillery fire. Turkish attempts to drop back into the river the first crossing detachment under the command of Major General Shepelev were repulsed. Russian and Ukrainian cavalry attacked an overwhelmed Turkish Tatar army camp on the August 28, inflicting heavy casualties. The following day, Ibrahim Pasha lifted the siege of Chyryn and hastily retreated to the Inhul River and beyond. Samuilovich and Grigory Romodanovsky relieved Chyryn on September 5. The Ottoman army had lost 20,000 men and Ibrahim was imprisoned upon his return to Constantinople, and Crimean Khan Selim Igiri lost his throne. In July 1678, the Turkish army, approximate 70,000 men, of the Grand Vizier Kara Mustafa with Crimean Tatar army, up to 50,000 men, besieged Chyryn once again. The Russian and Ukrainian armies, 70 to 80,000, broke through the fortified position of the Turkish covering force and turned them into the flight. Then they entrenched on the left bank of the Tyasman River opposite the fortress with a siege Turkish Crimean army on the other bank. The crossings were destroyed and it was difficult to attack the Turks. The troops could freely enter the Chyryn, but it was already surrounded by well-equipped siege positions and was heavily bombarded. Its fortifications were badly damaged. When the Turks broke into the lower town of Chyryn on August 11, Romodanovsky ordered to leave the citadel and withdraw troops to the left bank. The Russian army retreated beyond the Dnieper, beating off the pursuing Turkish army, which would finally leave them in peace. Later the Turks seized Kharkiv and established the power of Yuri Khmelnytsky on the right bank Ukraine, but did not dare to go to Kiev, where the Russian troops were stationed. In 1679 to 1680, the Russians repelled the attacks of the Crimean Tatars and signed the Bakhchisaray Peace Treaty on January 3, 1681, which would establish the Russo-Turkish border by the Dnieper. Brian Davies, Empire and Military Revolution in Eastern Europe, Russia's Turkish Wars in the 18th Century, Bloomsbury Academic, 2013. Brian L. Davies, Warfare, State, and Society on the Black Sea Steppe, 1500 to 1700, Routledge, 2007. Luke Jan Rizard. The Russo-Polish Treaty of 1686 and its antecedents. Polish Review, 1964 5-29 online. John Paxton and John Traynor, Leaders of Russia and the Soviet Union, Taylor and Francis Books Incorporated, 2004. 2017. 1677 to 1681 // PDF, in Russian. Moscow.cs1 made, ref equals harp, link.